Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Draven updated complete guide, of course with patch 4.3 onwards. And of course, as usual, don't forget to check out the Draven basic guide that we did, and I will of course put that up in the cards above. This is of course to see his skills leveling order, as well as some combos, as well as some tips and tricks. But with all that out the way, let's jump straight into talking about Draven's loadout. So first up, his items. So I decided to actually take advantage of the fact that we have Berserker Greaves now, so I actually decided to go for Berserker Greaves. Of course not as a first item, but going for Berserker Greaves allows me to take Conquer instead of Lethal Tempo, which I used to take on Draven because I needed a little bit of attack speed. So first up, I like to start with Bloodthirster. So Bloodthirster of course gives me AD, crit, physical vamp, as well as of course that shield, and this is really good on Draven for two reasons. First reason is, it gives you a lot of AD, which is what Draven loves. Reason number two is because it gives you a lot of physical vamp, which is what Draven loves as well. These are the two stats that Draven wants the most, so we get both of these stats over here. Next up, we go for Berserker's Greaves, a little bit of AD, but mostly for the 30% attack speed. Of course, Draven does not have any other attack speed in his build. I mean, we get to last item, but most of the time you're not getting to last item on Draven. We'll talk about that later. So we got attack speed. Of course, this is your only source of attack speed in the early to mid game, unless you reach your last item. But it's basically your only source of attack speed, since we're no longer going for Lethal Tempo and we don't have Legend Alacrity. So this is the kind of prerequisite attack speed. Of course, you have a little bit from here, but not too much. So next up, your next two items is going to be IE for, of course, the damage, as well as the increase in crit damage, and of course Shield Bow for the bevy of stats, as well as of course the Lifeline passive, together with more physical vamp when you trigger that shield. So whether to go for Shield Bow first or IE first is kind of a little bit of personal preference, but also kind of depends on the game. In games that I'm extremely ahead, I like to go for IE first, because this overall gives me more damage, because it gives me more AD as well as additional crit damage. But in some other games where there's like more assassins and more burst, then of course Shield Bow first for the shield could be really helpful as well. Now either way, next item you go for is the Maul Reminder. Gives you, of course, AD Armor Pen as well as Grievous Wounds. You could actually also go for LDR if there is no need for anti-heal. You could go for LDR, and then as your last item, you could, of course, go for something like GA. Now, something to note is, why am I not going Collector? Well, personally, I think that, Collector is not too good of an item. I think that other items are better, so I decided not to go for Collector. The main reason why you want to go for Collector most of the time is because it gives you both crit as well as armor penetration, which no other item gives. It's not for the passive. The passive just feels really good, but it doesn't actually do anything very much. So it's mainly for the crit as well as armor pen. So where would this be good? Let me give you an example. For example, Jhin. So Jhin, you can see here, if we go for this build, where we have lethality on the Youmuu's Ghostblade, we have lethality on our boots, then we get lethality on Collector, but we also get crit. So with another 3 crit items, this gives us 100% crit, as well as together with 15 plus 8 plus 10 lethality, which is of course going to be really helpful. But we don't need that on Draven. So Draven, last item. Now, most of the time this doesn't matter, because you almost never reach full build on Draven. And the reason for this is, normally by the time you hit like 3 to 4 items, you either would have already won the game because you've snowballed the game, or you would be so behind that you wouldn't reach your last item anyway. So it's either you're so behind you'll never reach it, or you're so ahead that you end the game before you reach it. You rarely reach last item on Draven. But if you were to reach last item on Draven, I think your best last item option is actually Rapid Fire Cannon. Now why? Because Rapid Fire Cannon doesn't give any vamp, doesn't give any attack damage, so why are we building this? Well, the main reason is, by the time you reach this point in the game, let's hopefully it's because you're extremely ahead and you haven't been able to close out the game, and not because you're extremely behind and the game lasts like 30 minutes, and despite the fact you're feeding, you somehow get to full build. But mostly, as I said, it's because you're ahead. So mostly you get to last item when you're ahead, but you can't close out the game. Why Rapid Fire Cannon is going to be really good is because with that range extension, you get that one extra auto attack with bonus range, and that one auto attack normally by this point is going to be able to do more than half the health of a squishy. Like sometimes one auto attack is like 2/3 to 3/4 health of a squishy, and that's why Rapid Fire Cannon becomes really good. Just getting like one extra long range auto off on the enemy ADC or the enemy jungler or the enemy mage before like an objective fight can literally win your team the fight and win your team the game by the time you of course reach full build. That's why I think Rapid Fire Cannon is going to be really good as the last item. The other option here is Solari Charge Blade, which you can proc very often because you can spam your W. However, this is a more of like a pure damage kind of item, but I think the utility from RFC is going to be a little bit better. So for the runes, as I mentioned, you go for Conquer. I've tested out Kraken Slayer, and I actually think that Conquer is just simply better for just giving you AD and Omnivamp instead of getting that extra true damage instead. I think Conquer is simply just better, so I go for Conquer. And then of course Brutal for the additional on-hit damage. Then we have interesting one, Last Stand. Now you might be wondering why are we taking Last Stand, because on Draven coup de grace seems so much better because you want to of course get that bonus damage when the enemies are low, and of course that will allow you to kill them more easily. Well, the main reason you want to take Last Stand is most of the time the most crucial part for Draven is his early game. So you want to be able to get a kill in game before your enemy does, and getting that first kill in lane is going to allow you to snowball the game and allow you to get fed and carry the game. So Last Stand actually comes in really, really handy in lane because generally when you're in an all-in lane, you're going to be below 60% health, sometimes even below 30% health, so you're going to get the full value from Last Stand, and the full value of Last Stand is more than the full value of coup de grace, so that's why Last Stand is generally better. Of course, we take Bloodline for the Omnivamp, and for your secondary rune option, you can go for Bone Plating to, of course, help you out in lane as well as in later stages of the game. Or you can go full on damage, and you can go for Empowered Attack, which of course gives you bonus damage on your auto attack every 10 seconds, which some people do like to take. For the spells, you go for Flash and either go for Exhaust if there are multiple enemies you need to exhaust, or you can go for Ghost if there isn't enemies that you need to exhaust. But with all that out of the way, let's jump into talking about Draven's gameplay. Okay, so moving on to the gameplay now. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below. So just a small disclaimer at the beginning of the video. I'm not really the best Draven. I'm just like an okay Draven. I'm not a horrible Draven either. Like, you're gonna see me missing some access, like, from time to time, and I'm not going to be the best Draven in the world, but, I'm just alright. But, we can still talk about Draven, his build, runes, items, blah, 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 gameplay. So, yeah. The thing about Draven is that I don't really like playing Draven personally because he's a very feast or famine champion. So, generally, there's only two possibilities with Draven. Either, number one, you're very, very ahead and you're stomping your enemy, or number two, you are behind and you are getting stomped by your enemy. So, it's kind of horrible in that sense, as in some people like it, which is obviously why there's Draven players and Draven 1 tricks, but I personally don't like it because I like, if I'm behind, I still have a chance to get back into the game. But Draven's the kind of champ that if you're behind, I wouldn't say you basically lost the game because you still have a team. Like, if your team does well, you can obviously still win. But you're the kind of champion that if you are behind, you are personally going to be useless. And of course, Draven is like pure damage. He does have, like, I guess a little bit of utility. With his E, like, you can use it to push people apart or separate an enemy team or block and engage, something like that. He does have a little bit of utility, but more or less he's just pure damage. So if you're behind, you're literally going to be completely useless, which is sort of the issue with Draven. And if you are playing Draven, you of course have to kind of accept that as a fact, and that's just sort of how Draven works. So interesting thing here is I played with this Yasuo on this previous game, and that game went really badly for me. I think I was like 0-7 or something. Basically, as I say, when you die as a Draven, you're just basically gonna be feeding. Of course, you can try to minimize your deaths, and my team as a collective lost the game with 0 kills versus 23 kills. So we just surrendered after, like, I think I think like almost 15 minutes or like somewhere around there, and it was pretty much a horrible game. So we got matched up with the same Yasuo again. He's obviously just bad mouthing us to our team. As I said, I don't chat at all, so I pretty much just ignored him, turned off my chat, and I have no idea what anyone is saying because I don't really care. Doesn't really help us in any way. So far you can see in the laning phase, talking about the gameplay now. So far you can see in the laning phase, nothing too interesting has happened yet. This is basically how you play Draven. Most champions you play against are going to be scared of Draven because most people know Draven does pretty insane amounts of damage. Here, Leona gets an engage onto Soraka, but a little bit too far away. So mainly how you want to play this is you want to farm minions, catch access, get stacks, and in between, you want to try your best to auto-attack the enemy champion and try to basically just poke them down as best as you can. So basically you just launch a couple of autos here and there. Now here for some reason I wasn't recalling. I thought that I was, but that was actually Leona's recall animation. So I actually lose a lot of tempo here because but right now I should have been where Leona is, which is like walking out of base at second tier tower now, but I've only just reached the base. Anyways, a little bit unfortunate, but yeah. So basically with Draven, you just want to play aggressive. You want to get auto attacks onto enemies whenever you can, and when you find an opportunity, you want to go all in with your support or even with your jungler. Of course, you as I mentioned just now, you want... Actually, I did not mention this. I mentioned this in the tier list video, but I'm recording this after the tier list video. So as I mentioned in my tier list video, Draven honestly currently, in my opinion, doesn't do that much damage anymore compared to what he used to do last time. Not sure why that is, but it just doesn't feel like you do so much damage anymore. So anyways, here, before we talk about that, here Soraka makes a mistake, gets stunned up, and here we basically just run them down. So this is the main reason why people like to play safe against Draven, because if you make a single mistake, he runs you down the lane and he's gonna kill you. But if you're close enough to your tower, he can't really run you down and you can get to the safety of your tower. But here you can see that from the very center of the lane that we've basically been able to run the Soraka down. So pretty much that's pretty much just the game plan for Draven. Just basically just get your CS, get poked down, wait for an opportunity to all in, and then just go ahead and all in the champion when you can. Now here Leona has back, Soraka is now back here. I exhaust the Samira here just to play safe, and then now I can back personally and of course get myself some items before the dragon. So here you can see I've completed my Bloodthirster together with some boots, and I'm going to make my way back to the lane and of course back to the dragon, which is going to be spawning really soon. So here a fight is already semi kind of breaking out. Here we can see Leona going in, Irelia's come for the rotation, so as Xin Zhao. Here I'm going to just start blasting whoever I can nearest target. So here I'm attacking Xin Zhao. Unfortunately he ults and I can't actually damage him because of his ulti, but Master Yi manages to get the kill. Here we try to chase a little bit, but we end up getting rooted by Soraka, and basically 3 of the enemy team members die for only 1, and technically that the Yone died and traded with the Akali wasn't even over here, but regardless, we get ourselves the dragon. So relatively good start to the game. We're 1-0 and 2. Of course, it would have been better if we could have picked up like another kill instead of getting some assists here, because it's really important to snowball on Draven. On Draven, really, like, it's really important to get your first like 3 kills or so, and after that getting assists doesn't really hurt that much anymore, because you want to get like some starting goal to work with. As you can see here, we just end up dying, which is not very ideal at all, of course. But Samira versus Draven is actually pretty difficult matchup to play, because Samira is a fellow all-in champion, and when she all-ins you, she generally does more burst than you do unless you're extremely fed. So it's really difficult, and Samira of course also has the W, and her W allows her to absorb one of your axes. So you literally lose an axe if you happen to attack her when she's in her W, which kind of completely sucks, because that cuts off a lot of your damage. So here you can see we're coming back to the lane, and it's okay to die on Draven if you can get a kill before you die. It's okay to trade 1 for 1 on Draven, because you are going to get more gold than the enemy and you're going to accelerate yourself more than the enemy, which is why trading 1 for 1 is alright. Of course, best case scenario is you don't die, but if you get a kill and then die, it's really not that bad, because you're going to get way more gold than the enemy and accelerate way more than the enemy. So regardless, here we're just going to go for some tower damage here. The Samira tries to get some poke on us, so we're gonna have to run away a little bit. Here I thought she was coming in, so I was trying to launch my E to prevent her from getting there. Here, once again, Leona manages to go in. I am able to get my ulti on, but we're not able to really do too much damage. Here Samira tries to go in, I exhaust her. Honestly, I don't think I needed to flash. Here I managed to actually block Xin Zhao from coming in with the E, which is what I was trying to do with Samira just now. Here they're all really low. Yasuo hits a tornado, doesn't manage to finish off any kills, dies himself. But thankfully, we're able to come in. Another ult from Samira, had to run away a little bit. And we're able to finally finish off both Samira as well as the Soraka. Samira picks up a triple, but we eventually get her, so we get the shutdown. And we're able to also finish off this tower. So overall, this fight went pretty favorably. We didn't die, we got a kill, as well as another assist. And we're now 2-1-3. Now, unfortunately though, here we end up dying. But honestly, this was a little bit unnecessary. Could have walked all the way back, but I didn't expect Irelia to be able to kill me before I recall. And the reason for that is, I was looking at my recall timer, and I felt that I could make it back before she engaged on me. But what I did not consider is the fact that the bush was warded, and because the bush is warded, she can just jump onto me without having to actually enter the bush. So I guess that was the huge mistake. For me, not realizing the bush is warded, and as a result, you know, she is able to flash on me and just kill me basically. But you know, it is what it is. So here I'm gonna pick up our BF sword. We're not obscenely ahead, we're 2-2-3, but BF sword gives us 40 AD, which is a huge injection of gold compared to like something like a Noon Quiver and Long Sword. If we're gonna build towards our Emerald Shield Bow, which is of course not as good item components. So here a fight breaks out in the bottom lane. You can see I'm rotating, so is Xin Zhao. And here unfortunately Akali comes in from the rotation, so does Xin Zhao. And here I'm trying my best to help my team out. Now here honestly I thought I had a lot more damage, and I thought that I'll be able to actually kill someone, but instead I just end up dying, and this kind of doesn't look, this kind of looks like a stupid play on my part overall. But I guess, you know, for someone who doesn't play Draven all that much or doesn't play Draven enough, this is what is going to happen. You don't understand your damage, and you don't actually know whether you can or can't, you know, kill someone. And I thought I had a lot more damage than I actually had, and I end up dying for it basically. Now here Yasuo is just mucking about under the tower, ends up basically just dying here. And he actually accomplishes nothing. He didn't defend the tower, he didn't get any damage done, didn't do anything, just like cancelled his recall twice by himself, stayed under the tower. Eventually the tower gets taken, and he ends up dying, but thankfully because Master Yi is there, ends up trading 1-for-1. Now in the game, you know, can you see Master Yi's carrot on the floor? In the game I was wondering what that was, and now I realized that that's actually Master Yi's carrot, which is like his sword on his winter skin. Anyways, here Akali for some reason just jumps in, gets chain CC'd by Leona, and we get the free kill. Really strange play from Akali here. So here we're trying to get the kill onto Xin Zhao. Once again, the ultimate is kind of stopping us from doing that, but we're able to flash forward and get the kill onto him. Here Leona goes in over the wall onto Samira and Soraka, but really hard for us to follow because we don't have a flash, because we just flashed for the Xin Zhao. And you know, we're just gonna fall back onto the dragon and take that. Here Irelia flashes in. We have the exhaust in this game, so we're not afraid to use it. We don't have it up at this moment, but we have the exhaust in this game because we have Akali, Irelia, Samira, Xin Zhao, so many good exhaust targets. Basically anyone who's not Soraka is pretty good to exhaust, so exhaust value in this game is high, and because of that we're going to take the exhaust. Here we're trying to force down mid tower, and we do, and Xin Zhao comes in. Here we're just trying to get some damage down onto him. We managed to finish him off. Here Akali is hiding in the shroud. We managed to exhaust her to slow her down. She tries to come back in to trade onto me, but ends up dying to me instead. And here the glacial slow is pretty strong, so here I'm just going to pick up this fruit. Everyone basically just comes in here now. With the help of Leona and her CC, I'm able to actually kill the Irelia before she can kill me, and I end up actually surviving. Here the fight is still ongoing. Leona's tanking the tower. We're able to finish off the kill onto both the Samira as well as the Soraka, and we get a clean ace here. However, we can see that Xin Zhao has already respawned, so now is the best time to back and not force this tower, because if not we're going to get caught. We're all low HP and we're not in any shape to, of course, get the tower. So here I managed to complete my IE as well as get all the component items for my shield bow, so I'm almost at the point in time that I can get my shield bow already, which is of course amazing. And next Nothing too much is happening here. Baron is only just spawning. So here what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clear the Krugs and get myself some gold. You can see in terms of gold, I'm at 10k gold and Master Yi has almost 12k gold. So my Master Yi is incredibly fed this match. It's really rare to have more gold than a Draven who's like fed. And I wouldn't say I'm like super fed, but I'm relatively fed. 6, 3, and 7 is pretty good. And Master Yi still has more gold than me, so you can see that he is really fed this game. So here I try to rotate to mid where it looks like a fight might break out, but we're being cautious here because if we rotate too fast, they can actually turn around and collapse on us, and our team wouldn't be able to help because they're on the wrong side. Here Akali goes in, and here we're just trying to DPS whoever we can. Irelia goes in, I exhaust the Irelia, we get the kill onto her, Xin Zhao tries to go in as well, Master Yi finishes off the kill onto him, and here we're now on the chase basically for the rest of the kills. Here I try to flash the wall to try to get the kill on Soraka. She ends up dying to Master Yi, and the final target, Akali, who's the one that started the fight, ends up actually escaping with her life. So basically the Akali ends up getting her entire team killed, and she's the only survivor of the encounter, which is pretty funny in my opinion. So here my team is going to go ahead and get Baron, while me and Leona force down some towers. So here Akali gets engaged on by Leona. Unfortunately she's in the shroud, so I can't actually attack her, which is really annoying. So we can't really do anything to her. So here our team gets Baron. We try to force down the tower, but it ends up not really happening. Here I'm trying to blast down whoever I can. Here you can see Xin Zhao lives on 1 HP, so does Irelia. And here Akali tries to go in on me, and I fail to block her before she comes. I almost end up killing her. She is actually flashing forward for me for some reason, and nothing too much happens afterwards. I'm just gonna get back out to safety and farm up some raptors. So unfortunately no kills for us there. We nearly got 2 kills, but both of them lived on 1 HP and were able to escape with their lives. And yeah, so here I'm gonna pick up the shield bow as well as pick up a stasis, which is of course going to be really helpful for us to delay time, particularly if we're engaged upon by basically anyone other than Soraka. All 4 of them basically want to get into melee range and get onto me. Even Samira, of course, with her short range ulti. Right, so here the dragon is going to be spawning in 20 seconds. This is of course going to be triple Drake for us, so we do want to contest it. Now I thought that the fight was going to break out here, so I'm rotating to my team to help them out. But Master Yi actually pings retreat, and no fight actually ends up breaking out, which is of course great for my team. Because we don't really want to fight here. We want to just secure this dragon and fight for it if need be. So here Yasuo is going to go ahead and clear the top lane. Now with the current state we're in, of course we're relatively fed. We want to end the game as quickly as possible before we start to fall off. Here you can see we're doing insane damages to Xin Zhao. We try to ult him down, but it's not really working out. Irelia tries to go in 1v3. We exhaust her, she gets stunned. Akali tries to follow up. We stasis to try to buy time, and we're able to actually get 1 kill before we die, which I guess you could say is the important part, because at least we get a cash in to get more gold. Master Yi though is able to pick up a triple and is able to clean up the fight. Honestly, I think that this match Master Yi could have gotten a pentakill, but unfortunately he always gets like triple kills. He didn't even get a quadra. I think like normally like 2 kills are taken by other people. In this case, 1 kill is taken by me and another one I think by Yasuo or Yone. But anyways, here you're gonna see something real funny. Yone ults the minion wave, which is really weird in itself. Because why are you using your ult on the minion wave? Then he lets the minion die. He starts tanking the tower, tries to finish off the tower, which he does. Then he goes in, minion dies again, he starts tanking, and instead, do you think this is funny? Yasuo goes into the tower, tries to finish it off, gets executed, and it's just a comedy series of events basically. And yeah, it's just really funny. So obviously this is the Yasuo that's like flaming me now stuff, so I had to drop a couple of question mark emotes to of course rub salt in the wound a little bit. So here I spot Akali coming near the Yone. So here I'm just hovering to make sure, not Akali, Irelia hovering near the Yone to ensure that she doesn't just go in on Yone, because I'm in the area. Xin Zhao is here as well. So here we're just trying to rotate with our team to try to possibly push down top lane and secure top lane inhibitor. I thought that was a really good idea, but Master Yi just starts channeling recall, so not much we can do. Here me and Leona are trying to ambush someone in the jungle. We catch an Akali, but she stasis, able to flash out And here we are able to finish her off, get the ulti down. Mastery once again goes in with his ulti, kills 2, goes for Samira, but Samira does end up escaping. Here I realize in the 1v1 with the Yasuo in the bot lane, obviously the Irelia does end up dying, so only Samira is actually left here to defend the base. So here at this point I realized that we don't actually need Baron. We can actually just force the end of the game. Even if Samira just defends, she of course she won't be able to defend anyway. Here I try to flash to KS, but it doesn't really work out. Doesn't really matter though, because the game is already over, so my flash useless anyways. And there we have the victory. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual, and bye.